2015 brought us another long, rough year of racial injustice in the United States, and with the mounting frustration of deaths like those of Michael Brown and Sandra Bland, we saw people take to the internet prepared to eagerly embrace slacktivism, which, as the name implies, is the kind of activism that involves posting a Facebook status, joining internet groups, and sending out tweets about opinions without ever really doing anything. Activism, of course, involves things like peaceful protests, genuine education, placing high-pressure demands for elected officials to take action, and doing everything possible to elect new ones in to replace them if they insist on ignoring a righteous cause. 2015 saw some of those things as well, though the ratio of slacktivism to activism is still painfully lopsided on the side of tweets and complaints. I think that's true for causes of attempted movements in general, and is far from being exclusive to the issue of long-lingering racial injustice. 2015 brought us a name for this modern wave of demand for equality for Black Americans, and that name is Black Lives Matter. It blows my mind what a semantic quagmire has come from this term, and how many people seem confused or perhaps just refuse to understand what it means. There is some responsibility on the part of the namers of that movement for being somewhat unclear, and a lot of responsibility on the part of those who insist on consistently misinterpreting it after there's been plenty of time to figure it out. This confusion is so prevalent that we actually heard the question asked in a Democratic presidential debate.
Do Black Lives Matter, or do all lives matter?
Wow. This question is a false dichotomy, and it's really surprising to me that it got screened and accepted into a presidential debate. So let's clear up the confusion for those who still aren't on board, shall we? The addition of just 3 letters could have simplified the entire movement's point, which is not that Black lives are the only ones that matter. The point is that Black lives matter too. It's a declaration to the country whose justice system has overall, for far too long, behaved as if Black lives don't matter, or at least not as much as white lives do. Unless they're rich, of course. Well, of course they do, some people say, insisting that all lives matter, including those of Black people. Well, it's okay to declare that something matters without assuming that nothing else does. You can say that you like apples, and it doesn't automatically mean you don't or can't like oranges. You can say that homosexuals deserve the right to marry, and it doesn't mean that heterosexuals don't deserve that right. So hopefully people in the All Lives Matter camp now understand that people aren't condoning genocide of all non-black lives when they stick hashtag Black Lives Matter at the end of their Facebook statuses. Now, for the folks who do fly that BLM flag, allow me to remind you that unless otherwise indicated, most of those All Lives Matter people aren't against your cause. They're just confused or semantically rubbed the wrong way by your movement's label. In the same way that someone can believe in men's rights but not want to wear the MRA label, or be an advocate for gender equality but not want to sport the feminist label. In the same way that your BLM claim usually doesn't exclude every other ethnicity, their ALM claim doesn't usually exclude Black people. Yes, there are fringe people on both sides, like the BLM groups who are asinine enough to overthrow a rally for a presidential candidate whose proposed policies would likely help underprivileged minorities more than any others, and there are some ALM people who are just indefensibly racists. But overall, what we're left with here are a ton of people who believe in racial equality and recognize that there's a deep American problem of racial injustice, who feel inclined to bicker with one another about what label they wear or what hashtags they should be posting, rather than addressing the people with whom they actually disagree. My hope is that both sides of this same coin will get over the semantic nonsense and move their focus to political activism, and start responding to the people who generally speak and behave as if Black lives don't matter, or as if not all lives do matter. Your energy will be better spent pressuring your congressional representatives about what changes you demand of your justice system, and what kind of things you want to see done in the democratic society in which you reside. Go out of your way to treat another human being particularly well, even if you don't know them, or help someone who needs it. Because if we truly care about the senseless loss of lives and the racial injustice from which this movement has been born, then we owe this movement more respect than to waste so much of our time and effort just arguing about what we call it.